Thank you, Sam. Good evening, everyone. Happy full moon Monday. Hooray. Before I move back to my mat and I have a little candle that we're going to kind of light together, I want to just create a context, offer you a permission slip. The practice that we are about to embark on is all about allowing. And this practice is totally yours to allow. I'm just a guide. I'm going to offer some things, some shapes, some ideas, some breath cues. But at the end of the day, tonight's practice is about connecting to your inner light, to your inner radiance, which means allowing yourself to be your guide. So if your body is craving something in particular, you cannot get this wrong. Okay? You cannot get this wrong. So please, please know that. Beyond that, once you have your pillows and your blankets and all your things, we're just going to sit comfortably for a moment and frame why we're here tonight, why I decided that this particular practice, it would help if I had my things. Without that, this is real life elements. Why we are gathering tonight for this particular practice. And yes, I love all things moon. And I even pulled out my lunar tights for you all. But this particular full moon, as we move towards the fall equinox, is an opportunity as the days start to get a little bit darker to connect to this inner radiance, this inner light, this idea that maybe you don't have to go out and seek the clarity, the power, the information, all the things in all the outside places. Because let's be honest, friends, there's a lot of information out there in the world. And sometimes it can be confusing. And when we're constantly seeking and thinking that we need this from somewhere and we need this from somewhere else, it can feel like a lot. And it tends to overpower, sometimes overstimulate, and make our own clarity a little foggy. And I experienced that even today on a Monday. Right? Any given day is a good day to notice that. But on this particular full moon, I really would love us to think about what if you could, I love this phrase by Heidi Rose Robbins, light the lantern of your heart. And to do that, we get to come into our body. We get to disconnect, maybe unplug from all the external sources and get rooted in you. Once we get rooted, then we have an opportunity to get curious, to listen, to allow. And the more rooted you are, the more curious you are, then you get to tap into that aliveness that's inside you. So we're going to come into our body and our breath in just a moment. But what I'm going to invite you to do is consider, what is it that got you to your mat tonight? Or if you're watching the recording, whenever you're watching the recording, what is that one thing, a nudge, a something that got you here to this moment? Bring that into the space around your heart. Just notice it. Thank it for getting you here. And we are going to connect to this energy of this new moon with this spark and this invitation to light. the lantern, our hearts. I invite you to take a big inhale here. An open mouth, let it go. So as we've opened our practice, I invite you to, as gently as possible, with as little effort as possible, to lie down. You're welcome. If you'd like to take a blanket and put it underneath your head, if that would feel delicious or supportive, please do that. If you'd like to take a blanket and put it either underneath your knees or a pillow or a blanket over your belly or little hips, give yourself permission to do that. We're going to kind of come into this space and this moment with an exploration as we go inward and go from the outside world to our inner world. So as you lie down, you can just let the feet splay out, maybe take a wiggle or two of the legs, and then let them be still. Maybe find any movements in the fingers or the hands. You can circle the wrists. And then gently allow the hands to fall down to the ground, palms face up. And just take any small movements here as you invite the body into stillness, without force, without pressure. And as your body begins to feel support from the earth below, allow the eyes to close. There's nothing you need to do here. Just get to be. Perhaps notice all the points of contact underneath the body. The heels, backs of the knees, the hips, shoulders, backs of the arms, backs of the hands. Notice the back of the skull. Get to know this body that you brought with you in this moment. Maybe you notice the breath, the ebb and flow. Maybe you can already detect, feel, sense the beat of your heart. Whatever is here for you, receive it. Allow it. Allow your awareness to come to your breath. To notice the inhale and the exhale. Receive that in-breath. And experience the exhale, the release. A few more moments here, simply allowing this movement, breath, this wise, instinctive ebb and flow to be received, to be experienced. With that connection to your breath, gently bring the right hand to the belly and the left to the heart. And consider whispering on your inhale the words, and you can say this in your head or even out loud. Thank you. And on your exhale, I love you. On the inhale, thank you. And on the exhale, I love you. Offer yourself this gratitude, this love. As a place to start. A way to belong inside you. Inhale, thank you. Exhale, I love you. Repeat that flow in, out a few more times. Notice how it feels. Thank you. I love you. Allow that mantra to dissolve, to melt away. With your hands still over the belly and the heart. Consider, what is it that you might illuminate from the inside out this evening? Take a moment here to plant the seed of an intention. Perhaps it's simply the idea, I allow myself to illuminate. I allow the words to find you. I cannot get it wrong. We'll seal that intention with a big inhale. And exhale, sigh it out. You can release the hands. If you had a blanket over the hips or underneath the knees, you can gently move it to the side. And then again, with as little effort as possible, hug the knees in. Maybe the knees are wide or together. Your body knows what it needs. Listen to it. Maybe it wants to be still. Maybe it wants to rock side to side. Allow here. And then gently allow the feet to come to the ground. And ever so slightly lift the hips and spin them over to the right, just about an inch. And then take the right knee and bring it over the left. As you do that, notice any transitions, any sensations that the body might already be feeling. And then invite the arms to come out shoulder height, like a T. You could stay here if this felt delicious, or find an inhale and exhale, allow the knees to fall over to the left. You might notice the knees go all the way to the ground, or maybe they don't. Wherever they are, you can allow gravity to support them. You can also take a pillow or a blanket or both and put it underneath the knees to support the bones. This practice is an opportunity to invite the body in to be our guide, rather than us forcing ourselves into a shape. There is no right way anything looks. The these shapes find us through our breath and through our awareness. So as the shape finds you, stay here, linger. The gaze can move in the direction of the right fingertips. The eyes can close. And as you settle in here, come back to noticing the breath. The ebb and flow, in and out. It's delicious to you. You can come back to that inhale, thank you. Exhale, I love you. You might notice that the knees find themselves pulled by gravity. And gravity is guiding them. You might notice sensation in the shoulders, or the back, or the hips, or anywhere in the body. When sensation finds you, smile. Greet it with a thank you. Maybe even too often we dim our inner light, not only because we crowd it out with other information, but because we judge sensations, thoughts, ideas, rather than allowing them. Here we put the spotlight on sensations. We invite ourselves to stay. Just another few rounds of breath. Keep breath in here, a big inhale. And exhale, let it go. Slowly bring the chin back to center first. And then the knees back to center. Pause. Unwind the legs. And guide the hips back to center. They might have been off by that inch or so from before. And just notice here, the right side of the body and the left side. And you can gently lift the hips and scoot them over to the left about an inch. And slowly take the left knee and place it up and over the right. This side is likely to be different. Invite in and inhale here. And then exhale, allow the knees to fall over to the right. Maybe gravity finds the knees and supports them. Maybe there's room for a blanket or pillow or both. Invite the side to be its own experience. When ready, you can invite the chin to fall over towards the left. The eyes can close. And breathe. Breath is this beautiful anchor. Not only does it help us release tension that we're holding on to, but it invites us to move, to create movement within us. offers the reminder that nothing has to be stuck. We can receive, experience, and release every new in and out of the breath. Allow an open mouth exhale or a sigh whenever your body is asking for it. For another few moments, notice what this sigh has to illuminate. What is this sigh asking you to notice, to pay attention to? Find an inhale here. Let it go. Slowly invite the chin to come back to center. And then the knees come back to center. One, pause. Notice. If it feels good, you can hug the knees in for a moment. Really notice or allow the body rather to guide those movements rather than a should. And from here, we're going to move onto our belly. So with as little effort as possible, maybe roll over to one side and kind of scoot. But you can find your way onto your belly and then lie down for a moment. You're welcome. You can use your hands as a pillow for your forehead. Notice what it feels like to receive the support of the earth from below, on the front of the body. Feel the belly sink in. And I'm going to play a little bit here. So you may want some blankets or some pillows. And this really gets to be something that your own body is going to guide you into. And we take it very, very slow. So coming up maybe just to your elbows for a moment. The palms can be together. I'd invite you to guide your left knee just up a little bit. Maybe it comes to hip height. Just notice how that feels and notice if the body shifted over onto the right side and how that feels. So the right leg is still extended. The left leg is bent at the knee, maybe about hip height, but it doesn't have to be. And if you get to a place where there's sensation, that's a good place to be. If you get to a sensation where there's pinching or pain, that's a place where we've gone too far. We're looking for that edge, for that sensation without force. So from here, you can lower back down the head to the earth. And maybe that knee comes a little bit higher. And the foot can be flexed underneath the knee. So you have a 90-degree bend here. It's like you're in a laying down tree pose or half frog. Your hips may or may not say thank you. Just allow yourself to be here and notice. Notice sensations. Notice thoughts that might have come up. Tell ourselves so many things on any given day. You're like me or so many of the people that I know, competing for that Olympic medal and catastrophizing or overthinking. We get to come back in those moments when we catch ourselves and breathe. And the body is a great place to practice. When we notice sensation and it comes up and we start telling ourselves that sensation means something, we can choose to notice that idea and then offer it a breath. Maybe a thank you. Maybe an I love you. Notice if the hips and the pelvis have settled in here. Notice the back and the spine, shoulders. And find a breath in here. And let it go. Slowly invite that left leg back. All the way back. And maybe just take a moment and rock the hips side to side and pause. Notice the right side of the body and the left side of the body. And though sometimes symmetry is overrated, we are going to play in symmetrical shapes this evening. So you might come back up to the elbows, and you can always stay on the elbows if that feels better. But slowly you'll guide that right knee about hip height. And again, you are likely to notice that this side has different things to say. And if yours is like mine and it says, yeah, I have some messages, and they feel intense, you can stay there. You'll be okay. If those messages are painful, offer yourself love and maybe release that leg a little bit out, meaning lower the knee, bring it back down. There's no place that this leg has to be. Take a moment to notice if your left leg is engaged, if that left thigh or glute is trying to work here. And if it is, give it a gentle wiggle, offer it a breath, and invite it to release. Maybe lower back down the forehead and the chest. Notice what's here for you on this side. Hips in particular often have a lot of information for us. Allow it to find you. And the breath in here. Open mouth, let it go. And we're here for just another moment. And then slowly invite that right leg to find its way all the way back. You can gently wiggle the legs or the hips or even the windshield wiper, the legs. And come back to stillness. And we'll spend just a few more moments here. Bring the elbows and the forearms to the mat so that the elbows are underneath the shoulders. You might notice some pinching in the low back. If you do, you can walk the hands and the elbows a little forward or a little back. And then check in with the fingers that they're not gripping into the mat. You can move them like you're waving to somebody as if they could see you on the Zoom screen. They can. And then place them lightly back down. You can even wiggle the legs just for a moment to invite the heels to spread out. And then notice here your spine. Notice it at the tailbone. Follow the curve of the spine towards the mid-back and the upper back. And imagine gently, energetically, so you're not actually moving anything. Imagine that the elbows are gently reaching towards the hips. This isn't forceful, it's just this energetic movement. And you might notice that the chest lifts a little bit as you do that. Head can stay lifted here, or the chin can fall towards the chest. You pick. And when the body finds that just right shape, invite in a big breath. So an inhale, fill up. And an open mouth, exhale. This is a beautiful shape to receive that inhale. Thank you. And experience that exhale. I love you. Each exhale is an opportunity for the belly to find connection on the mat. Each inhale, the heart to lift and rise and receive all that's there. As if it's shining a light out from inside you to illuminate what's right in front of you. Here for just another few minutes of breath. Because it feels good, fill up on an inhale. And then stick out your tongue, exhale. Slowly lower the torso all the way down and create that pillow for your hand, for your forehead with your hands. And then gently here, bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Guide yourself up into a tabletop. If it feels good, you can take a few cat-cows here. Just gently arch the back. And then around the spine. 2 or 3 of these at your pace. And come back to a neutral spine. And I'll invite you to have a blanket or a pillow handy. And we're going to sit on that blanket or pillow. And the idea of doing that is that it helps the low back, it helps the hamstrings, it helps all the things. Just to have a little bit of height there underneath the hips. And then from here, the invitation is to take the legs and bring them as wide as is comfortable for you, which doesn't mean as wide as possible. Let me say this very, very clearly. This is not about going as far as you can or as far as you think you should. Because the longer you stay in this shape, the longer the body will talk to you. So it's going to that place that feels just right, where there's sensation, but not too much. So if you automatically went to a place, you might just bring the legs a little bit closer together, just to give yourself permission. You might also notice that there's a lot of pulling, maybe in the back already, or in the hamstrings. If that's the case, you can take another blanket or pillow and put it underneath the knees. Right? All the supports are good. So just notice here, notice the hips. You can place the hands lightly on the mat, lengthen the spine, and then gently walk the hands over to frame the right leg. You could stay here, or you begin to walk the hands slowly down that right leg, maybe just to the mid-thigh, and pause. Notice here, there might be plenty of sensation here, or maybe the hands continue a little bit more. But notice here if your thighs did like mine did and clenched up because they want to work. Right? This is the invitation to let them relax. So that might be a cue to stay, to just whisper to those thighs. It's okay, you're fine here. Maybe you walk a little bit further, but then allow a spot to pick you and to be explored. Explored in stillness. The chin can fall towards the chest. The spine can round here. Breathe. I came across a saying years ago that I loved, and it said, I stopped looking for the light and decided to become it instead. It's probably on some yoga t-shirt. This idea of becoming the light, powered by what's within. How might you be your own light in this moment? What might that light want you to notice? Find a breath in here. Open mouth, let it go. Slowly walk the hands back, maybe towards the knee or the thigh. Back closer to the pelvis. And eventually the head is the last to rise. And then gently bring the torso back to center. And just notice. Notice the right side of the body and the left side. Breathe in, just as you are. And then, when you're ready, slowly guide the torso in the direction of the left leg. Notice that subtle shift and what that already feels like in your body. And then exhale, treating this own side, this side, honoring it as if it's its own, because it is. Invite the hands maybe down towards the mid-thigh and then pause. Maybe that's where you stay. Maybe the hands continue to wrap the knee. Or maybe they go further. Allow your body to guide you here. Gravity to come up and meet you and support you. For that inner light, that inner knowing, to be compassionate and kind rather than forceful, trying to produce or be productive or get to that thing. Find your breath here. Maybe receive that inhale with a thank you. And experience that exhale with an I love you. Notice the sensations as they shift. Notice what body part is speaking to you here. And a big inhale, fill up. And let it go. Slowly walk the hands back towards the knee or the mid-thigh. Top of the thigh, pelvis. And bring the torso back to center and pause. Notice the right side of the body, notice the left side of the body. And gently here, guide the legs together. And this is another good place to notice if the knees would feel supported by a blanket. Just observe how the body feels. Maybe take the hands, place them on the mat, gently press the earth away from you again, not forced. Just an opportunity and an effort to lift the spine, to create some space here. Take an inhale. Open mouth, let it go. You have options here. You could stay like this. You could take a blanket or a pillow or both and create like a very tall thing on your legs of support. Because in a moment, we're going to fold over our legs. And the invitation here again is to allow sensation to find you, but also to ease into some restoration. To give yourself permission to feel supported. So wherever you are, whatever would feel delicious, invite the hands to maybe walk forward just a little bit. Notice that with that hinge at your hips, what the body is craving. Maybe the chin wants to fall towards the chest. Maybe the head wants to stay lifted and the spine long. But invite yourself into this shape. Maybe the chest and or the belly are supported by that pillow or blanket. Maybe you turn it so that the forehead is supported by that pillow or blanket. But invite yourself in here to receive an experience. Allow to float at the center of your being. You have the answer. You know who you are and what you want. Breathe into that center here. And inhale. Now let it go. Slowly walk the hands back, maybe towards the knees or the thighs. Eventually, the spine begins to lengthen, torso lifts. You can open the arms, lift the gaze, maybe a smile. Breathe in. Let it go. Release the hands down. Set the pillow aside for just a moment. And then we're going to scoop ourselves down onto our backs. 1, 2, 3. As you lower down, have a blanket or pillow handy. And then walk the legs in, the heels rather, towards the hips. We're going to move into what's known as a supported bridge, but rather than a shape, what I'd like you to consider is that we're going to take the energy from the earth, so up from the earth into the feet, into the legs, and then use that energy to fill our hearts. So that energy that we are rooted in, those truest parts of you, and let it fill your heart and then spread through you. So with as little effort as possible, you can lift the hips just enough to take a pillow or blanket, and it doesn't have to be very high here, and place that pillow or blanket in that spot where you'd normally have a label, the back of your jeans. So that tailbone. So the hips are just slightly lifted, right? But they're higher than the heart, even if it doesn't necessarily feel like it. And you can play a little bit here. You want the tailbone to feel supported. The hands can rest by the sides, palms face up. And then allow the eyes to close. as you breathe, inhale, receive the energy through your roots, through your feet. Allow that energy to travel up the front of the leg, and then towards the hips, and then let it fill the heart and spread through you as you exhale. Nourishment, when we allow it, when we receive it, and grow. The idea that the more nurtured and nourished you are, the more you can nurture and nourish others. It's like you're creating a ripple. Breathe in here. And then slowly lift the hips just enough to remove that blanket or pillow. If it feels good to hug the knees in, or take any last movements that would feel delicious in your body. And then you can ease yourself into a Shavasana, that final resting shape. The legs extend. You can take a blanket or pillow and put underneath the knees, or over the hips, or behind the head. Arms splay out, or by the sides of the body, palms face up. Invite the body to feel the support of the earth below, to receive the energy of the sky above, to be illuminated by the love and the radiance that is within. See this moment. Gently here, become aware of your body. Allow awareness to move that direction of your heart. Here in this illumination, space for to cultivate what it is you might be creating a path forward with this illumination, with this awareness. In Sanskrit, the technique of cultivation is called bhavana. This word has all sorts of delicious meanings, feeling of devotion, faith in, contemplation, saturating, steeping. As you rest in this space around your heart, you ask the question, what quality of life would I like to be filled with? I desire to be steeped in. Infused with. We ask the question, and we allow our ingredients to notice. It's different. Your answer is yours. The words that you use to ask are yours. So notice which words feel most delicious for you to ask the question. Perhaps even again, what is a quality of life that I'd like to be infused with in this moment? Say things like energy, peace, love, wisdom, power, joy. The quality that matters is the quality that you are in this moment. Allow yourself time here to ask, to listen for the answers. Maybe in words, maybe in images or sounds. Allow instinctive wisdom to illuminate this quality, this feeling, this energy that you crave. And give yourself permission to be filled with it. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Right? Allow that word, that energy that you want to be steeped in, illuminated by, to become its own mantra that you whisper to yourself. Bring that in. pulse within you. There's nothing to expect. Welcome it. Maybe there's an emotion that's been evoked. Welcome that too. Tenderly explore what it's like to give yourself this illumination. We cultivate, we attend to. And you illuminate light up. Allow important things to stand out. Allow this quality, this energy to grow in its illumination, to stand out, to be noticed. Maybe there's a glow, there's warmth. Allow that to spread within you. You can come back to this bhavana at any time. That spark of illumination that you've created, that space that you've allowed is within you and is yours to cultivate. Breathe that in here and allow your breath to get a little deeper, to nourish and nurture that seed, that light, and to allow it to move through you. To allow that light to travel with your breath all the way down into the belly, and the legs and the toes. Allow the toes to wiggle a little, energized by this illumination. Allow that breath and that light to travel into the shoulders, into the arms and the hands and the fingertips, sparked by this energy. And then take that energy and let it grow even more by reaching your arms long behind you. And with your breath, find a full body stretch. And then in your own time, in your own way, you can roll over onto your favorite side into a fetal pose and cradle yourself here. Allow yourself a moment to reorient into your world, illuminated from within. And when you're ready to bring that illumination with you in the center of your being, to be the clarity you seek and guide guide yourself up to a comfortable, easy seat. Invite the hands to find heart center. Fingertips can touch here, and then leave a small space between the palms. The chin can fall towards the chest, and breathe gratitude into that small space between the palms. Gratitude for your breath. Gratitude for your body. Gratitude for this practice. Gratitude for the illumination that you created space for. We'll seal our practice with a big inhale, fill all the way up. And open mouth, let it go. The illumination, the wisdom, the love in me honors, respects, and is so grateful for the illumination and the wisdom and the love in each and every one of you. We bow our heads and share the word Namaste. Friends, I will invite you to just take a moment. And if you have a journal or a piece of paper or anything handy, just jot down any words or thoughts and anything that you want to remember, to bring forward, or a question that emerged. So give yourself an opportunity. Just pause here for a moment. Come back together, and if you're still writing things down, feel free. But I would love to bring us back together with an invitation for questions or for sharing or for noticing the beauty of this practice. And in all of the groups that I bring together in any way, shape, or form is, yes, in the practice and the experience, but then in the wisdom that each of you brings, that is your own and can be so beautifully shared and experienced when it's shared. So I open it to you all for any questions, any thoughts, anything that wants to be witnessed or shared. You can unmute yourself. You can even put things in the chat. And if you're thinking, Elena, I feel so relaxed and delicious, I don't want to speak or write or anything, you can give yourself permission for that to be okay too, and just receive what's here and go sleep if that would feel good. You're so welcome. I will open it up for anybody that wants to share. You know that I can all outweigh you, right? You do know this. but I'm not going to. You're so, oh, piles of mush. I love piles of mush. And thank you, Alec, for participating as well. So what we'll do to close, for those of you that are still here, so glad, oh, I'm so glad you made it as well, Harrietta, thank you. Is we'll blow this candle out together. And then I'll stop the recording, and anybody that wants to linger and ask questions can. Anybody that wants to go rest can do that too. So if you're here, we'll take the energy of the group and we'll blow this candle out together. So find an inhale and exhale it out. Release all the stagnant, and we create space for all of our illumination. Thank you for being here this evening. You'll have this recording so you can come back to it at any time. It's good for even not full moons. Let me know if you have questions. For now, I'm going